You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Black Box After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Black Box After Show.
Good evening and welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host tonight, Mindy Thomas, and we've got an amazing show.
But before the show, I think we've got some music to listen to.
Do you guys recognize that?
I'm feeling it, and after the show tonight, I'm totally feeling it. I think I'm already hallucinating as we're listening. Woo! Coming off the shrooms there. Something big time. All right, well, you're watching the after show for the 5th episode of ABC's Black Box tonight called Jeruselum. And starting on the left, I would like for my co-hosts that are totally awesome sitting next to me here, I would like for them to introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, it's Teresa. Happy Little Friday. Tomorrow's a holiday, so I'm super excited.
Well, it's almost the holiday.
Well, almost. Well, we have tomorrow off, so
yes,
it feels like
big weekend coming.
And hey everyone, I'm Jade Howard.
Hi, Jade.
Hey guys.
Any other thoughts tonight? How you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I love that green on you.
Thank
That's
you.
You guys are so
beautiful
colorful.
color
I know,
on
like
you.
boring.
Reminded me of Jade.
And a special shout out to Phil. We just think you're awesome and
Phil's
we
the
love
best.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Phil.
guys.
Thanks for working so hard back there. Your professionalism and your endurance. We're just feeling the love from you as well. So let's get right on into it. This show was out of this world. There was definitely a trip to the holy city that was made by one of the men, Mr. Myers. And I think that that's where we're going to start off tonight, because he was walking down the hallway and we didn't know all this. And then all of a sudden he was appearing in that 500 count king size sheet.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, he was all wrapped up. It looked like it was either a toga party or something. But then he was speaking shalom and blessings. And so he was coming out with some Hebrew. I mean, I'm talking big time. So
Then he got on his computer and into his bank account and gives away $12 million.
And that's where we knew something else was actually going on, because of course if you go to the holy city, whether you're Christian, Jewish, or Muslim, you can have an experience, and that's totally fine, but this was way beyond that.
This was overboard.
And not to mention, it was funny because his wife noticed that something was wrong when he gave away their house. Their penthouse, New York penthouse, and he just gave it to the housekeeper.
That was another little clue there.
I think that was what set her off. Next thing you know, she's thinking,
she's like,
we're going to the hospital and you're getting checked out.
You take the nest egg, it's one thing. You take the nest, brother, you're going to see the psychiatrist. I mean, we're going to the neuroscientist.
It was actually
right
a
away.
pretty comedic performance by him.
It was great. He was great. I really liked it.
Yeah, Mr. Myers, Jacob actually, even sort of a spiritual name, because in the Old Testament, you know, his name was changed to Israel, and so there's
we
did
it
early.
We need the more you know music right there.
Yeah.
That's our little special fact of the night.
Fun fact.
All right, Teresa. So, what are your thoughts, hot off the press here, coming out talking about
I just think
experience.
This whole episode was just about a spiritual experience. It kind of tackled tough subjects, death, religion, drugs, and it was definitely a trip to watch. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think I wanted to see a little bit more of the Bickman Black relationship develop. We saw some flirtation. But overall, I thought the Patient of the Week stories were really interesting.
And Jade, what are your thoughts after just seeing it?
I agree 110% with what Teresa said, but I also really loved Dr. Arthur when he came back into the completed his storyline, because
that was wonderful.
He was diagnosed. He had a brain tumor and he had to leave, and so him coming back and really watching his story close, as tragic and sad as it was, I actually was very emotional. It really made me teary-eyed, and I love that they were able to take it there and still bring a happiness to it, you know, because so many people lose family members to cancer or loved ones. Right. And to see that type of story unfold, to see him go and to be into a better place, knowing that he was like at peace with everything, I think it was a great way to close out his storyline.
Yes, and I did enjoy how Dr. Catherine Black is discovering more about Dr. Bickman and how he has somewhat of a generous side. So overall, I would say I like those touches, even though it wasn't sort of a direct storyline tonight.
It's building up so that, you know, so the next episode or next 2 episodes, we're going to see something.
Right. Well, I want to dive back into the Jeruselum syndrome is actually what they call it. And it's a real mental phenomenon, if you will, that sufferers that they visited places like the Holy City, they can actually come back and it can trigger something in their brain. Well, that's what they were thinking this was. So they're looking at the BMAT2, and they said that can be an inherited gene, that you can actually believe in God because of your inheritance. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was really interesting, because you know, there's so much scientifically, like a lot of things are scientifically accurate on the show, so you actually are really getting to learn things that you would never have thought existed.
I totally love that, because it's not just like a spiritual experience, but then they were saying physiologically it manifests. It's like, wow. So it's amazing, you know, the brain and the things that we're discovering, like you're saying, they're sort of educating us along as we go. And so I'm totally enjoying that.
It's just crazy to me that there's actually a syndrome called Jerusalem syndrome, and that people will relinquish their possessions and, you know, will wear toga gear.
Toga gear.
I don't know what you call it, but it's brand new to me. I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah, he seemed like he was really deep into this, and that because they had visited there, they thought, well, surely that triggered something in his brain. And then he met the guy, Larry Jansen, I guess was his name, and he liked lobster. And anyway, he's having these sort of
they went to the lobster truck. That was so awesome. He's like, the lobster truck is here. I want to go get some lobster. And he's like, let's go, because Larry was blind.
Yes.
So they go to the lobster truck.
Right.
They have them some lobster, and next thing you know, he's blessing Larry, and Larry can see again.
And Larry's believing he has received his sight, that this miracle has happened. Well,
we learn that it's actually the steroid that
it was in that instance. Although there definitely are faith miracles, but in this particular instance, it was by the lobster truck. And so
I love that it took place in New York City in front of a lobster truck. Crazy things never happen in New York like that,
never.
ever.
Yeah, that was some pretty good twists there. And so, you know, it was like Mr. Myers had been seen also washing the homeless man's feet and just doing some things again. So his experience that was happening inside of his brain was triggering this awareness of people, well, do they believe in God? And so they did take on religion this week, and I was really paying attention to some of the finite ways that they were diving into that.
And I thought what was so interesting about that is it was faith meets science.
Yes.
And it was, even though they weren't real doctors discussing it, it was interesting to hear it. It was written from a scientific perspective, and a lot of them didn't really believe when they were all talking, you know?
Right.
Yes,
except for Dr. Black.
It totally led to sort of behind the scenes discussion with the doctors. Yes, and they were wondering if each other had faith in God. And then she actually opens up and says, you know, I wish that I could have this experience, this sort of spiritual ecstasy that I hear about. And she was just hoping that she could sort of get out of her brain to have that. And then the storyline sort of progresses.
She drinks the hot chocolate that Will's known to make.
That was such a great small storyline that we really enjoyed following. It was like the comedic relief.
Now, I was thinking it was some kind of coffee with a cinnamon twist because he was a chef, and there was just enough of a dash in there. But hot chocolate, it could be.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know what exactly
he was making her hot chocolate before, and so she was just digging this hot chocolate. So he was making it for her again, but he ran out of the cinnamon this time. But it was just funny. What made him think that she would have cinnamon in her bag?
And in a little package like that.
In a little package. I mean, I've gone to Sprouts before, which is a grocery store in LA. And you can like get your spice by the pound, which I think is the coolest thing ever. But I don't know how he saw that and thought it was cinnamon. Don't you
knowing
smell
that
your spices?
she's a neurologist, of course she's gonna have some meds and
she's gonna have cinnamon in her bag because she's a neurologist. That's what neurologists carry. They carry cinnamon in their bags.
So this leads to them having this sort of shroom fest, although neither one of them know they're having that going on.
I could only imagine there's no worse experience than not knowing that you're high off of shrooms.
Oh, yeah. And so he opens the refrigerator and he's like, there's a zoo in my refrigerator.
He sees a bunny, a monkey, and then a sheep.
It was the cutest little sheep. It was like, bah.
And again, I like that we get to see what they see. I think that's like one of the coolest parts of the show.
Yeah, because it was innocent. It wasn't like it was werewolves or something scary. So we got to see he's got this tender side. That's the way I kind of viewed it. But
yeah, that's true. He sees bunnies and sheep and cute little monkeys. Everything was so cute in that fridge.
It was so cute.
I do really liked how they incorporated that into Arthur's storyline. You know, he took the hallucinogenic drugs and he sees he's out in this field and he opens the door and he sees his mother.
What I also love so much about that storyline, like you were saying, is that when they found out that the cancer had spread, that it moved to his liver. Right. Which was just so sad to hear. And I love that he said anything, because at first he was eligible to go onto a trial to try and help extend his life by 2 years. But you have to be in good health usually to get into these trials. And so because of the cancer spreading, he was no longer eligible for it. And so he was just begging them, there's got to be something you can do. And I love how Dr. Black's compassion just chimed in right there. And then she says, oh, I know somebody that's doing a study on shrooms to help you become ready and prepared for death so you're no longer fearing it, because he patched up his relationship with his son and spending time with his grandson, and he was just so happy. He just really wanted to extend that, so he really feared death.
Right, because in a prior episode, he was actually wanting to out himself. He did not want to continue to go on because there was an estranged relationship between he and his son. However, this sort of had mended, and then now we got to pick up that storyline like you had said earlier, and it was Teresa, and then
it's great to see him fight for it.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you know, he was ready to give up on life.
On hope. Total hope. Yeah. That's why it was so great that thank you, ABC, for extending that storyline, because it was such a good way to see that character through.
It really was. And so here he's fighting for his life, and we're all hoping for the best. He has a nosebleed, and it looks like it's from a reaction to the radiation. To chemo. And so then we're kind of on a roller coaster thinking that this other medicine could work. However, it's just, he's coming to the end, and so he ends up having this hallucination as well. Like you say, his mother, his brother, and that was very sort of surreal. I still feel like I'm hallucinating now in a way.
It was his purgatory almost. You know, he was getting ready, like he was in the middle, and it was great to see him. He experienced what he felt like he was going to see when he was on the shrooms, when he passed away, like what he was going to experience. And then he no longer feared it. And then it goes on again. And then he goes in, he wants to take his son with him. And his brother says, no, he'll be okay. And then he walks out. And I just thought it was
it's great to see the drugs actually do what they were meant to do.
And these weren't actually shrooms. It was a medically approved sort of similarity.
Yeah. It was kind of like shrooms. It was like a powder.
It was called psilocybin, something along those lines.
It's designed to help patients like him be able to cope with death easier. Yeah. And be able to embrace it. And I think it did exactly that. You know, it calmed him down and made him ready to open that door and say, yes, I'm ready to leave Jackson and go And
this was an incredibly courageous storyline to take on.
Yeah, that's a tough one to tackle.
Definitely.
It truly is, and I thought it was done well because they were distinguishing between that the brain can have these comforting thoughts and this type of thing, and yet at the same time there can be an overall calming effect. But yeah, it paralleled beautifully with the other storyline of the man that was having the religious experiences, so to speak. However, it came around that Jacob was not actually having the Jerusalem syndrome. Nope. After all of that,
they were seizures.
Right.
I know.
And they didn't even realize that until, they were telling him actually he's, normal. He just had this religious experience and, there's nothing we can really give to him. And his wife is freaking out in the corner saying.
His wife was like, no. We're going to figure out what's wrong with my husband because I don't have a home to go to. We have no money. I'm homeless and I cannot buy groceries. We're going to figure this out. Well, then he has the seizure because she's like, snap out of it.
And I love the way that Dr. Bickman, he totally reacts. He's like, aren't faith healers frowned upon in Judaism? He kind of brings it on down.
I know. You wanted to go boom, boom, ching. That was hilarious.
Bickman was great with the one-liners this episode.
Yes, you and your Bickman.
I know. I gotta give a shout out to him every episode.
But he said something that was very sort of prideful in regard to believing in God, sort of kind of putting off an air.
Mm-hmm. He said, "Yeah, God definitely." Or
he said, "He's like, God." He's like, "I'm a brain surgeon. I am a God. I am God."
Even though he's putting that out there, then. Later on, we're discovering that he's got a lot more generosity, and Dr. Black and he kind of have an exchange toward the end of the show where she goes back in his office and really he was doing some other generous act toward the end of the show, and she was sort of discovering
something about a shelter in Haiti.
Exactly,
that's how he met Tracy.
There's more than meets the eye to you, is what she's really saying.
And they hinted at that a couple episodes ago when he did the tracheotomy and then had to do the brain surgery, and then they were testing him to see if he was a sociopath.
Yeah,
to
so
see if he was a sociopath.
Has this tough guy exterior, but we're like, oh, that's
I want to see him like in an insecure moment. He's super confident all the time, and we haven't seen, the vulnerable side of him yet.
Okay, right.
It's like, dear Dr. Bickman, please show me your teddy bear side.
Yeah, thank you. I want to see that.
And we didn't really see a whole lot of Will tonight. The chef with the cinnamon, of course, that was very interesting.
And I have a problem with not seeing enough of Will.
Yeah.
You guys got a lot of Bickman this time around. You guys are Team Bickman.
And last week we got to see him dancing. And, this week we didn't get any
dance
Will
moves.
love.
He just made hot cocoa and got high off some shrooms. That's what Will did this episode.
All right. And then there was also Ali Wong's character that she was into the plumber and takes him back into a special room. And I'm thinking that because she used sort of the electronic opening with these doors, that there was a bed inside.
And Titanic music.
Forget that. Titanic music.
And the Baroque paintings.
Yes, and the Baroque paintings. Not leave out the Baroque paintings. At first you're like, there's a hammock. So you're thinking, what are you guys going to do on this hammock? Like, that looks like that could be very dangerous. And then she opens up and the door is open and it's like that, her lair.
I was kind of disappointed because all it took was a cronut.
Yes, a cronut. And she didn't even eat the whole cronut. She only had a bite. And then she was like, come to my lair. I'm going to need for her to just, hold out a little bit longer than that.
And they haven't known each other for all that long.
No.
Okay, but then at the end of the episode, she's kind of pulling back.
Right. He wants to take her on a proper date, take her out to dinner. And she's been trying to get out of it and not really move the relationship to that point. And so he says, well, I'm going to show up in the elevator at this time. And if you don't meet me, then I won't come back again.
And I'm thinking, so this guy wants to take you on a proper date after you gave it up over a simple bite of a cronut, and you don't know if you want to go on a date with this guy?
After you've been on ScienceNerd.com for how long searching for the right guy.
Right. I know, right? And then here comes this nice plumber. And
he shows up. He's all dressed up, not even in the plumber,
brought flowers,
and I mean, totally bringing it. And then that's when she backs off.
She's super conflicted,
right?
But why?
So there's definitely a deeper story there.
A deeper story going on.
A bad relationship in the past, and is afraid to start something
Yeah,
new.
that's totally going to come out because she was really sheltered and she wasn't really seeing a lot of guys. It was, on the internet is a certain kind of relationship, but when you're face to face, which is sort of becoming a lost art in our culture, I think, but the face to face is really where it's at, where you're getting to know someone, and she's just not putting herself out there. So I thought it all kind of progressed really fast at the Cube when they sort of happenstance and met like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still don't understand. If New York is anything like LA, good guys are really hard to come by. So
he's a good catch.
He was a good catch. And he understood and was so compassionate to her. I'm just saying.
I feel like most guys here would be like, okay, like,
so when are you paying? When are you taking me out to dinner? Wait,
they would like the setup that she's got going on right now and wouldn't want to have that date.
She needs to move to LA. She needs to relocate to the Cube headquarters in Santa Monica, California. I don't know if that really exists. I'm making that up. I'm having a mini rant, but
we love that state-of-the-art medical facility. That whole thing is very cool concept, totally. And speaking of relationships, one relationship that was starting to head off tonight was Miles and with Esme, and she didn't want to be seen by him at first. It was a whole teenage sort of moment, and then she and her biological mother, although she does not know Catherine Black, Dr. Catherine Black is her biological mother. They trade coats and
Helmet Lang.
Helmet Lang. I'm sorry, you've got a cool Aunt Esme. She gave you her Helmet Lang. It was leather. It was like a leather bomber jacket. I like clothes, okay? And
I love her wardrobe, by the way. I think she's just on point every episode.
I say when Kelly Riley takes off her coat, like, she just, like, I want to take my coat off like that.
I take my coat off. I'm all like trying to get out of it. And I'm like, hey, can you pull this sleeve for me real quick?
Rewind that. So awesome. So Esme and Miles, their high school romance is starting to sort of kick off, and she later has him over to her home, and then they are found in the same bedroom, which I would think a lot of parents would not necessarily allow a teenage boy and girl in the same bedroom or home alone together, but they were.
And then Josh, the brother, discovers them, and she's prim and proper, and she's like, hey, this is my friend from school, we're just doing homework. He's like, I know weed, smell of weed.
They're calm as a whistle, like
but did you see the way like they had all the windows open, hoping that he wouldn't catch onto it? So you just see this massive breeze going past the curtains, and you're thinking, okay, what are you guys up to? Because it's New York at night. I know it's cold out there.
Yeah.
It's winter. Why are your windows so wide open?
Then Josh calls Dr. Black, of course, because he wants Dr. Black to have a talk with Esme. And what happens? Well, she had the hot cocoa.
It was
right after she had the hot cocoa. So
the shroom cocoa.
So she's looking at this brain scan
super high
on the computer, and all these musical notes start kind of flying out. And she's like, "Uh-oh, this is not good." And so then Esme is not really sure what's going on.
Well, Esme's pretty high too.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they're both just high as kites. And the reason why I paused was because I was just thinking about why didn't they have the mom talk to her, Reagan? Why didn't she talk to Esme? Why are they calling her to have the talk? I thought she was supposed to be distancing herself.
She's supposed to be banned.
Right. So I thought that was why I paused, because I'm thinking, wait, why is she the one talking to her? They should be handling it as the parents, not the cool aunt who's high.
Yeah, that's a little bit
excellent point. Where was Reagan tonight?
Maybe
she was not in the picture.
Did she go on vacation? Was she out of town
so
for
we'll
work?
Find out.
Yeah, I need to know where Reagan was. So if anybody has an idea or saw something in the storyline we missed, please let us know, because I feel like we're missing something.
Yeah, we're seeing some rebelliousness from Esme. She's got all this hope with this scholarship that she tried out for with the piano recital.
Yes.
And so there's a big future that awaits, but she's starting to experiment with drugs. And
she's got a bad boy boyfriend.
Yes.
Who plays the guitar. That's not a red flag right there. I don't know what is.
Oh my goodness. Well, so is this going to sort of uncover some of the pain maybe that she's going through, or is it just an experiment being a teenager?
I feel like she's slowly showing signs or hints of Dr. Black.
Right.
And they're just very similar. Like, you can't deny that that's her child.
Right.
You know, because if you think about it, she was 16 when she got pregnant, and she had a bad boy boyfriend who left her. And it just seems as though just small things.
They're showing the parallel.
They're preparing the plot. They're stirring up the pot to get it to thicken a little bit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh my. Well, Jade, let me just ask you this. What was your overall feeling of tonight's episode? Just sort of reflecting back, we just watched it. What are you thinking about the overall episode?
Overall, I really liked the direction it's going in. I think it was a strong episode, especially from like the last ones we've seen. I think they've all been strong, and it's showing consistency. Sometimes when you watch shows, there's just no consistency in it, and then you don't watch it anymore.
And Teresa, did you find that these case studies were a little more interesting than prior weeks? Or you finding?
Yeah, I thought this episode was really unexpected. You know, like with a lot of medical dramas, it's very standard type of patient. And I think they took it to a different level by incorporating religion and, you know, special drugs, alternative drugs. So it was a really interesting take on it. And I thought, you know, it was a bold of them to go in this direction. So I applaud them for that.
Yeah. And Dr. Catherine Black, you know, just toward the end of the episode, just overall, I love the way they tied that in at the end as well, where she has the spiritual experience that she was hoping to have. And she goes into the sanctuary, the church, and looks up at the stained glass windows, and then Mary and her baby.
Give her a thumbs up.
Okay, right.
Mary and baby Jesus are chilling on the stained glass. And then she turns at her and she's like,
which I felt that there was a parallel between her being the mother and then also thinking about Esme.
Like, am I doing a good job? Am I doing right by Esme?
That's a great observation.
I like the way you're going there. I like that. I'm digging that thought process, Mindy.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to see what happens to me the next time I'm in a beautiful church like that.
I know. Let me know if Mother Mary says something to you, too, because that'd be pretty.
And this is all shot in New York City, by the way.
Is it? Okay.
In New York, yeah. So I believe in the city as well. So some of these locations are pretty great when they stem out from the cube as well. Anyway, I always love any kind of beauty like that.
So what did you guys think of the relationship between Bickman, my favorite, and Black this episode?
Yeah, well, they seem to be really sort of hitting it off more. I think it's progressing. They're kind of leaving us on our tippy toes because we don't really know where she's at with Will right now, and we don't really know where she's at with Bickman right now.
I really like the scene where she walks into the room where Bickman's, you know, putting on his shirt, and she goes, "Where are you going off to?" And he says, "A date." And then he goes, "Does that make you tinge?" And she says, no. And then he calls her a liar.
Okay, so she's gonna be okay. Should we get in the predictions then, since we're talking about the love triangle, or you want to talk about some news first?
Let's do some news.
All right, Jade, bring it on.
Yeah.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Jade's got some news.
I'm gonna keep dancing until I get to the.
I feel like I should sing R.E.S.P.C.
I know. Right? I'm gonna need for my dance move to not be the pointing finger up in the sky. Like, hey guys. Okay, let's see. Let me put this finger away.
What you got?
So I was on Twitter. And on Twitter, Pride and Prejudice at P&P2005 said, "Great episode tonight on Black Box ABC. It was informative, smart, funny, and sad." Then he does an emoji, thumbs up, and then hand clap. An hour went by fast, too, as usual. Hashtag Black Box.
Yeah, it did go by really fast. I agree with that. Excellent point there.
I did, too. What do you think about the pace?
Yeah, no, it went by really quickly.
But not in like a bad way, in a... Wait, no.
Yeah, it was
over.
It was easy to watch.
I was sad to see that episode end. I mean, you knew it had a great ending, but I was still sad that it was over. Let's see. S. Donnelly at @SDonnelly_77 says, "Fantastic episode. Hashtag Black Box. Gets better every week as Catherine's character is revealed like layers of an onion."
Ooh,
absolutely true.
Love that analogy. I thought that was a great one.
Yeah, because you can cry at every layer. Because when you stare at an onion,
and we really are learning more about
Onion 101. You will cry. You will cry when you have an onion.
We really are learning more about Catherine and her, you know, way of diagnosing patients and seeing just how great she is with them, and looking for alternatives.
And speaking of Catherine, I would like to share a little news as well. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, great. Kelly Riley, of course, has a lovely British accent in real life. I heard her on an interview, she and Ditch Davy, and it's just beautiful. And then also in real life, she's been married for about 2 years.
Oh, so she's taken. Somebody put a ring on it.
Of course. She's got it all.
I have another quote too.
Okay.
From Pride and Prejudice again. Said, each door led to a different loved one from my life, Dr. Reynaud. And I thought that was a great quote. One of my favorite quotes, because he said, I wanted to open more, but I wasn't ready yet.
And it made him look forward to death.
Exactly, because he did not. He waited to open that door.
That's really good. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, so I guess we need to start talking about some of what we're thinking for the episodes.
Is it prediction time?
Yeah. Let's roll on into it.
And now,
let's roll on into it. We've got other episodes. This is only episode 5.
Yes.
So we've got other episodes that are going to be happening here. And I mean, we got to get ready.
We got to get ready.
Let's bring it on.
Well, I think Delilah is going to stir up some trouble. She's been quiet, but I feel like she's going to be the secret weapon of the show that's just going to start getting things going.
Ooh, I love secret weapon. That was good.
That's gonna happen. And then Bickman and Black, that needs to happen soon, because there's just so much buildup, and I think it's like every episode we're like, okay, what's gonna happen? I think that once she's off her meds, which we still haven't seen yet, that's definitely gonna happen.
Right. And in the next, or one of the next episodes, we'll probably see a funeral, because this was one of the co-workers, the doctor that was ill tonight, that he had made amends with his son. And so we'll probably see them out of the cube, sort of interacting more in an intimate sort of funeral setting. Could this lead to more of an spiritual experience for Dr. Black?
Right. Interesting. So my turn now?
Jade.
Hey guys. Okay, so Amy Holden, who's the creator of Black Box, she tweeted, "At this point, we don't know what Lena is hiding, but clearly she finds it hard to leave the cube." So my prediction is that Lena does not have a home, because why isn't she ever going back?
Maybe why does she have that secret bed that's all decked out?
Maybe that is her home. The cube is her home, and maybe she is really attached to her work, and she does not see herself having a life outside of the cube.
Yes. I mean, do you live to work, or do you work to live? And doctors, a lot of times, they're living to work. And there's not really, when is there time for a life, except for Dr. Black?
She seems to find time. She's shopping at Helmut Lang. I mean, you just better go, Dr. Black.
That's an excellent, So any other quotes that you would like to share, Jade, tonight?
Do I have any more quotes? I do have some responses from our YouTube comments.
Oh, very good.
Shall I share?
Yes, thank you, fans.
We love our YouTube comments.
Okay, so let's see. Miss Gigi Gen, say that 10 times backwards and really fast. She said, "Isn't the Fun Facts music from the More You Know commercials?"
Yes, it is.
There you have it. That's your answer.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa, for that insight.
Can you play it again? I just love it. It brings back the greatest memories of childhood. Okay. And so then, hike.
I'm hallucinating that I want a bowl of cereal after.
Yo, I know. Yeah, like Carlos said on YouTube, he says, "Yeps, surprised they didn't know that, or maybe for legal reasons they couldn't name it." Well, we named it now, Carlos. We named it now.
Just for you.
Just for you. Oh, and then Steve Feinstein says, "Delilah is going to be trouble. I sure hope no one pushes her in front of a train." You watch House of Cards. You got that joke. You watch House of Cards?
Oh, yes.
I don't.
You need to watch House of Cards. Okay. Oh, my gosh. Mindy, no.
That's a good one.
Mindy, no. You watch it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your assignment.
I'm on the hot
Don't
burner.
come.
Do you have predictions for next week?
House of Cards. Predictions, the spiritual enlightenment. I just really believe Dr. Catherine Black is really wanting this. And also she is really wanting a close, nurturing feeling of a relationship with her daughter. I mean, she really wants the truth to come out at some point. She's not going to be okay with there not being you know, the bonding there. I think she just really longs for that.
I see that.
I can definitely see
and
that.
I believe that they're going to end up bonding through having the same illness and being able to relate in ways that Reagan is just not going to be able to.
And that's going to eat Reagan up
Yeah,
inside.
she already feels alienated.
Yeah, I wonder if she'll let her go, like accept it, like come to terms, which I think is really hard because you don't have to birth somebody to feel like they're your child. You know, you can take someone in for a family member, you can adopt. You know, I have family members who've adopted, and you just you see it, and they really, it doesn't matter. So that is her daughter to her.
I heard an amazing story just at the park not too long ago. This is my tangent moment.
Mindy's tangent moment. I got to get you theme music for that.
This is an amazing sort of just playing into that. Is she did adopt her child. She was a baby, and she had never, you know, had a baby herself, sort of, you know. The bottom line is she started nursing this baby, even though she had not technically had her out of her womb.
Which is,
isn't that amazing?
Scientifically, like, rare. That's how connected you can become with your child. So, which leads us back to Reagan really feeling that connection with Esme, and then Esme not really giving it back to her. Or maybe it's just she's not a cool mom. You know, really, when you at that age, I didn't think my mom was cool. Now I think she is like the sugar honey ice in everybody's tea. Like, you can't tell me that my mom's not cool. But I feel that, you know, at that age, it's maybe she just does see her as her mom, maybe just not as, but she's got a cool aunt, you know? Yeah. Maybe.
With a killer wardrobe.
With Helmut Lang. I have to keep saying that.
Oh, and then also in terms of a prediction, the brother they're going to have some conflict because we haven't really heard about the dad. So there's going to be some type of, with the dad not coming in the picture yet. We don't know why was the mom alone raising them? Why was she a single mom? And did her illness drive him away? Was that part of it? So what happened to him? Where is he? That's
maybe we'll see him make a comeback.
That would be really good to see that unfold too.
So I think we've covered it pretty well here tonight, and I am just really looking forward to more.
iTunes. We have to tell everybody to go to iTunes. Go to iTunes.com/AfterBuzz TV and search Black Box.
5 stars.
5 stars. Nothing less. 5 stars.
Rate us, comment,
and do the same thing on YouTube. We love your comments. As you can see, we check all the tweets, we check your YouTube comments, and we will respond.
And thank you so much for watching tonight here on AfterBuzz TV. We can't wait to join you next week for the fun after ABC's Black Box. Thanks, Jade. Thanks, Teresa. I'm Mindy. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.